Welcome to the Crypto on the Block radio show, featuring industry pioneers and CEOs across various industries in blockchain and cryptocurrency. Here's your host, Matthew Loughran.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another show of Crypto on the Block. Again, your host, Matthew Loughran. Today, we have a fabulous show for you. We have Liron Artizi, founder of Utopi, on the show today with us. Utopi is seeking to revolutionize charity and disaster relief with the transparency and efficiency of blockchain technology. Liron, how are you doing today?
I'm doing so great, Matthew. Thanks for having me on board.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today. Again, pleasure to have you here. Would love for you to maybe go through a little bit about your background as well as Utopi for the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I'm so blessed just to be in this position to make a dent in humanity. I think that we as human beings really owe it to the planet to really give back as much as possible in such a time of crises. And you're just seeing these social movements come together, and it's a large reason why Utopia has the specific model that it does have today. My background is in film and television distribution. That's where I cut my teeth. I was actually a child actor, Matthew. I was David Hasselhoff as a little kid in a movie, and that spurred me into the entertainment industry. And I ended up acting for quite a while. Then I went into film distribution and production. I had quite a bit of experience selling feature films around the world, attending the various festivals, really understanding the ins and outs of the distribution industry and film finance and production. I spent some time producing a television series called the Business Profile Series for CNBC and the History Channel, which took into account a lot of advertising and unique mechanisms and working with Fortune 500 and Fortune 1000 CEOs. I spent a lot of time in content, producing feature films, putting together different television series, creating and producing and helping to finance different live performance shows. I produced the Matisse Yahoo benefit concert in New York City. I produced the Crosby, Stills and Nash concert in the Hamptons for quite some time. Spent with my own event space called the Soho Loft, where we hosted Barbara Walters and America's Next Top Model and Clear Channel and a number of other organizations. I had a private equity firm, which led me to a partnership with somebody who's prominent within cryptocurrency, a gentleman named David Drake, who's a dear friend of mine. And he got me into doing some media work within the crowdfunding industry. And I'd taken some time, actually. Matthew, my life has sort of just been in a state of flow, if you will. If a particular opportunity came up, I seized it. And that's really what led Utopia to being created in the manner that it was created today. I think each executive that we brought on, from my co-founder, Lee Blake, who was a partner in Keep a Child Alive with Alicia Keys. She worked with President Obama on a movement. She has worked with Bono and a number of other celebrities. Just in the way that we met is so interesting, and for all these things to have to happen was almost like a leap of faith. And I really just believe in that wholeheartedly, that if you see an opportunity and it feels right to you, take it, right? And so with Lee Blake, her and I met. We were putting together a feature film, and that feature film didn't happen. But here we are years later, when David Drake called me up. I want to say it was going back about 7 months ago. And he said, stop everything you're doing. You have to really take a look at the cryptocurrency and ICO industry. And I said, what are you talking about, David? And I took a deep dive. I went down to a conference at the Draper Center, and my mind was completely blown. And I thought, okay, here I have a tremendous opportunity to do something within media. And I met these folks who were launching an ICO shop called The Bureau. Matthew McGraw and Patrick Wickstrom and Zane Witherspoon. The synergy was there. Not only were they tremendous business people with large expertise across the board, but they were also humanitarians, and that spoke deeply to me. I spent the year before in Costa Rica launching a positive media company called Secrets of Positivity, and when they finally said to me, we want to do something within media and cryptocurrency, I gave it some deep thought, and I said, what's really going to resonate with who I am and doing some good for humanity? And the idea for Utopi was born. And that was, can we create a platform whereby we're taking advantage of the current market and of technologies within entertainment that are booming, such as live streaming, and can we deliver it in a technological platform that really resonates from a transparency and efficiency standpoint, and can we do some good for humanity with it? And so Utopi was born with those concepts in mind.
I mean, quite the varied history. And I love it when I meet entrepreneurs like that, because you really have a taste of a lot of different industries. So you can draw from a lot of different experiences and obviously put those positive experiences into your project. Just to back that up, right? You came from film to film distribution, right? To private equity, and now, crypto and entertainment and charity all wrapped up in one. So very exciting to kind of hear a little bit about this program that we're talking about here. And I would really love to maybe have you go through a little bit more about Utopi, maybe about, I'd say maybe some of the biggest problems that you're seeing in the industry, and how do you think there's maybe a gap in the market that Utopi is looking to fill?
Certainly. So, and thank you for those kind words. I think from a charity standpoint, if we're just looking at impact and social impact in particular, there seems to be a gap in transparency and efficiency and cost effectiveness that Utopi, in terms of its scope and in terms of our particular goals, can solve. So at this particular point in time, if we look at blockchain, right? Blockchain, there's no live streaming platform that's going to take live streaming content, be it user-generated content, it might be influencer content, it might be celebrity-based content, and combining that with a social impact cause. So you've got the philanthropy aspect of it. And so we're going to aim to bridge this gap between the two. As I mentioned, the biggest challenge within the philanthropy sector is going to be transparency. And there are many inefficiencies, there are many fees, there's costly overhead. We're not sure, how to track use of funds in an efficient manner as well. And so it's discouraging people from getting involved in social good. And the key here is to make this process really easy and fun and entertaining, whereby, we're not shifting people's consciousness and banging them over the head and saying, donate, donate, don't donate. What we're doing is we're taking target demographics such as Gen Z. We're saying, look, you're creating content, you're consuming content, do it within this user-friendly system where you can trace all of your donations, where you're rewarded by creating this content, and where we're all becoming part of this solution to tackle the world's biggest issues. We've aligned ourselves with the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Those are goals like poverty and hunger and inequality, the environment. And so what we want to do is take full advantage of the capabilities of blockchain, streamline these philanthropic efforts so that we can increase the funds that we're raising and truly make an impact on humanity.
Yeah, this is quite a unique project that you just described as well, right? So, as a content creator, as an influencer, as a celebrity, even, I can turn my content into actually impact through your platform, right? And as you just said, help support, those UN goals, around poverty and sustainability, et cetera. So very interesting in that regards. And really kind of what you're doing is pretty revolutionary when it comes to leveraging blockchain technology, right? You provide that transparency for that charitable giving. I mean, I can't tell you how many times you see on the news, millions of dollars raised for this relief effort, but, 6 months later, when reports come out, right, only a small percentage actually shows up, right? Whoever is in the middle is kind of taking those funds. So I'd love to kind of have you get your take on, what do you think the impact that Utopi will have on either the nonprofit or the charity sector?
Yeah. Are you saying other than the nonprofit sector?
No. So what do you think it will have on this specific sector in the nonprofit?
Yeah, sure. So I want to take an example of something that we believe will have a massive impact on the planet. Let's take disaster relief for an example, right? So if there is a particular tragedy that occurs, pick any one of the 20 that happened within a several month span. And now let's take Puerto Rico. So Puerto Rico people are now left without water. They're left without power for months on end. By the time the government passes stimulus packages, by the time it takes somebody to put a bunch of celebrities and wrangle them up in a room and get production overhead sorted out and get a broadcast together and facilitate insurance, it's millions of dollars and a lot of time spent. The Utopi platform comes along, and all of a sudden we're leveraging our celebrity relationships. We, within just a few days, can put together a benefit concert utilizing our live streaming technology to where we're utilizing very limited overhead. A celebrity, let's just take an example, such as Beyonce, might be in front of her piano, ready on command just to sing one song, which people then from all over the world have the ability to watch in real time and donate utilizing our tokens, right? We may then switch to a comedian for 5 minutes in some remote location. So we have the capabilities then to streamline a particular benefit concert and produce an event for pennies on the dollar of what it would cost normally. And then that money, in a very efficient manner, is raised through our Utopi donations and the tokens. But then exchanging it to fiat currency, we're getting it in the hands of our partner operators on the ground that are trustworthy and that we know will get the particular product and relief into the hands of the people who need it most. And then this is further followed by and verified by our production teams that we're going to unleash so people can follow this entire experience from beginning to end. So that's just one small example of how we're going to impact humanity with our system.
And I think that was very helpful to kind of walk me through your specific value chain, right, of your organization as well, and kind of just one specific example of how the process can really impact in a very fast amount of time.
Yeah, and there's, if you look at what we believe is going to be a portion of our model, which is our user-generated content, right? It's bucket challenge. So people are utilizing live streaming of a particular issue, right? But they raised money sporadically, but there wasn't a central fund that the movement was geared towards. So you take Utopi now and imagine giving somebody that power, the live streaming power of a Facebook Live, with the mission of a GoFundMe. So somebody will be able to select a charity of their desire to create an event for. And it might be something as simple as dousing themselves in a bucket of ice water, and it might be something like playing their favorite song on guitar. It might be somebody who's teaching a particular cooking class. It might be an influencer who wants to share a yoga course. So that user then will be rewarded both with Utopi tokens, and then a large portion of that will go towards the charity that they allocate themselves. So we're creating this entire ecosystem by which anybody, a user, an influencer or a celebrity can utilize to make change in a rapid way.
It really just sounds like the only limitation is going to be the creativity of the individuals that are on the platform. So it's really quite unique.
Thank you. I think you're absolutely spot on. The limitation will be definitely the creativity of the individual, and I'd say also user adaptability, right? How quickly can we create a system that is utilized by not only tech-savvy humans and people with but how do we shift that momentum towards other demographics as well? I want my mom to be able to go on there and feel free to watch her favorite artist and donate accordingly as well.
Absolutely. And one thing about, I think especially the blockchain community at this point is there's a lot of social good going on, within the blockchain community. And with that, right, we're even seeing several different, social impact projects, like Utopi, that are even in the process of, doing an initial coin offering and so forth. So I would love to maybe have you talk a little bit about maybe how you're going to separate yourself and what makes you guys different in this specific marketplace.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've spent a lot of time looking at the marketplace, and there's certainly some viable and exciting projects in each of these particular areas. I know that there's a couple within live streaming. There's a content generation where people are being paid to create content. There are some charity organizations within the blockchain space. There's nothing that we've seen so far. We believe we are the first to come out to market that takes all of those particular areas into consideration and combines them into one platform. So we are creating the element of live streaming and leveraging the power of celebrities and influencers and a massive user-generated demographic, and taking advantage of this creation and consumption, all for the greater good. There's nothing that currently exists in the marketplace like it.
And obviously, Utopi will be a business as well, right? I don't think it's just going to be, even social impact organizations still need to make money. So I'd love it if you could maybe help describe a bit about the organization's revenue model.
Yeah, well, look, we want to put the majority of our proceeds into the hands of people who need it most, right? This is, again, we want to tackle the issues that have been plaguing the nonprofit world for a long time, and cryptocurrency and blockchain enables us to do that. So, for example, in the celebrity-driven concerts and certainly the benefit concerts, we're going to give 100% of the net profits to the charity themselves, because we can. We just need to make sure that we're sustaining our income and making sure that we have enough to keep us moving. But the money that we are going to bring in for Utopi is going to be derived from sponsored content, from advertising, certain product placements, from merchandise. You may take a portion of that for setting up and facilitating those transactions. And we're looking into some sort of a subscription model now that will sort of be a eat all you can in the same traditional models that CDNs like a Netflix has put out. So those are still being worked out, the finer details, but that should give you an idea of what we intend to do.
So to me, it sounds like it could be a Netflix, but when I'm watching it, it's actually doing some social good on the back end. Right? I'm still getting my entertainment and what I want to watch, but it makes me feel good about it then, because money's going to, help sustainability and so forth.
You're spot on, Matthew. And in fact, when you go on and you search for a particular channel, because that's what we're going to give users the ability to do and influencers the ability to do, is create their own channel of content, both live streaming and produced content. I'll be able to then go to that particular channel, and the user select, as I mentioned before, what charity that particular that particular channel is supporting at the time. So if I'm a user then and going and seeing that that my friend Tommy is now supporting kids with cancer, I know deep down inside that's an important cause to me. And I'm not changing my pattern. I'm still consuming this content as I would anywhere else. It's just knowing that a portion of that is going towards the greater good.
I mean, it sounds very, very interesting, right? And kind of just from our short conversation so far, there's a lot of different possibilities with the platform. So what I'd really love to know is, what about this project? What really excites you the most about it?
Being able to truly revolutionize humanity in a way that's never been done before in a transparent and efficient manner. And more important, it's to be able to give people a home and a voice by which they can not only present their concepts to the world, but that they can be part of this global, global change and challenge themselves to truly make an impact by utilizing our system and aligning themselves with influencers that they really care about and causes that they really care about. So what makes it exciting is that we're taking bits and pieces of some of the best things that are out there and combining it into one platform that enhances positive change around the planet.
Excellent answer. I think it's, again, right, there's a social impact cause, leveraging technology to make transparency into a specific industry. I think it's fabulous. Now, obviously, not everything is, sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns. So I'd love to get some insight from you as kind of what you see as the organization's biggest threat as well.
Yeah, I would say first and foremost, regulatory environment in the United States is uncertain. Right? We don't know what those particular rules and regulations are going to be, and they're constantly changing. So it's making sure that we're keeping up with those regulations as we go forth. I think certainly, even though that we're revolutionary in the space, there are a number of competitors that are getting into the market at this particular point in time. And I think our biggest challenge, as I mentioned previously, would be really driving people to utilize a platform that they're not familiar with, let alone a technology that's, that people are still somewhat afraid to jump in head first. And I think as more Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies come into the space, that'll alleviate some of their concerns.
I think you brought up a really good point there, right? So, obviously, any product or platform is gonna, has to get user acquisition, user adoption. But I think when you layer in a blockchain or cryptocurrency, there might be an added piece to customer education that would need to happen with that. So. And I agree with you as well. There's a lot of Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies all building their own proof of concepts on blockchain. They're dumping a lot of money into the space. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And yes, the regulatory environment in the U.S. changes, I think, by the hour at this point, not by the day. So I think that's more of an overall industry concern of, the big hoopla, what's going to happen. But looking back and looking at the technology that you guys are looking to build on top of, obviously, blockchain brings a lot of valuable things to the project. Can you maybe discuss, why you decided to use the Dispatch blockchain?
Absolutely, Dispatch has so many advantages. It's if for listeners, they wouldn't most likely have heard of it. If they have, right now, Dispatch is effectively Ethereum with added capabilities. They were written up major publications like Forbes as being one of the revolutionaries for this particular year. And the reason being is that they have functionalities that really support an organization like ours. I'll give you one specific example, which is horizontal scalability that they're tackling. So that will really, by sharding different bits of fragments and information, we're going to alleviate some of our data storage concerns and streaming concerns. It allows us to operate as a hybrid functioning technology. Our Utopi Go Live is going to take advantage of both the peer-to-peer marketplace as well as the traditional content delivery network. And it'll navigate those waters and make it really cost efficient. And then by utilizing the horizontal scalability function, it will enable us to save a tremendous amount of money, both in terms of streaming and file storage, as well as make our content secure.
Yeah, it sounds like you can hopefully tell AWS to go shove it on that expensive bill you get every month. But no, obviously it sounds very, very interesting as well. Again, right, both from a security standpoint, to be able to defragment the data as well to cut down on the storage capability. So, very interesting stuff coming out of Dispatch Labs over there. So, and I'm sure we'll hear a lot more about those guys here in this coming year as well. But it's kind of diving back into the startup mentality for this organization, right? Is you're launching an organization. There's tons of competing priorities, every single day. Again, it's not anything new for any startup, but then when you layer in blockchain and you layer in, a public crowd sale and so forth, stuff gets crazy. So I would really like to, how do you prioritize your day or your duties during this insane time?
Ooh, that's the $1 million question, Matthew. The first thing that I'd say is that I have such a team full of rock stars in every area. We did things a little bit differently when I was sort of beaten over the head by advisors and saying, don't build the business so fast, like just build the core, let's get it out to the market. And I said, you know what? It's really important for me because we're dealing with such so many different complex industries, I should say. We're dealing with nonprofit, we're dealing with content, we're dealing with finance. We're sort of at the pinnacle of all of these, of the intersection of all of these different areas. And the idea for me was, first and foremost, let me get a solid team to where I have a chief in each of these areas. I went to the well, and the majority of the executives that I brought on are executives that I trust and I've worked with for the past 20 plus years. And I made sure that we had a system in place that was going to be really efficient and effective from day one. And we really researched and did our homework, and everything, even from bringing a corporate culture advisor in from day one was really important. To a head of philanthropy, to our chief content officer, our chief technical officer, our chief experience officer. We just built a fantastic team. So it makes my life as a CEO a lot easier when I have phenomenal people to rely on. And so every day it's just tackling each of these particular areas and making sure that the ball is moving, and making sure that as an organization, our communications are highly effective. And we've done just that. We're very blessed.
I think you really hit on some great points there. I even have a background in, management consulting, and a lot of times we would go into an organization and just see giant red flags with an executive team, where that would be, the really cause of the bottleneck in an organization. So having a strong executive team and having the ability to have strong communication among that team that will then kind of reverberate down throughout the ranks of the organization is very, very important, especially at a time when you have a million things going on every single day, that those lines of communication become key. So yeah, thank you very much for that kind of great answer for that as well.
Sure.
And just to kind of, so to give some people some more information about how to find information about Utopi, and eventually, participate in your crowd sale. How can people get a hold of you guys?
The best way to get a hold of us is to go to our website, which is utopi.io. And through the website, you can input your email and continue to receive up-to-date information, get access to our Slack channel, Eventually, we should be releasing our white paper pretty soon, so you'll have access to the white paper as well, and begin to follow and begin to get involved.
So just so it's utopi.io, correct?
That's correct. Utopi was formed. Lee Blake had this phenomenal idea. She wanted to call us Utopia, and it was taken by, obviously, and trademarked by a lot of different organizations. So we started doing some research, and I found that Utopi, which in a sense has a really nice little tech ring to it, was the foreign translation in many different languages, many European languages in particular, for Utopia. So Utopia was the foreign translation. So it's really creating this beautiful world, co-creating, I should say, this beautiful world that we all want to live in, and utilizing content to get there, which is something that they're avidly using as a whole, and shifting that consciousness towards creating content for the greater good.
Love it. Liron, again, thank you. Pleasure having you on the show today. Very interesting background, again, right? From the film, the private equity, to crypto, entertainment, to charity. I love entrepreneurs with varied backgrounds that pull so much into their projects from past experiences. And then, again, Utopi sounds like quite the platform for transparency and change within the charity world, and leveraging the dispatch blockchain for execution of that. So, again, pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you for everything. If I'd say anything to the listeners out there, it would be just to follow your intuition, because you never know why something is leading you down a particular road. And if I had to think of all the things that needed to take place for Utopia to be where it is, I had to be born and raised in South Africa. I had to go to London on this project to meet somebody. I had to go within Asia and pick up the only English language book. I had to meet my other business partner in Costa Rica. So I just say, follow your intuition and follow your dreams. And I really appreciate you having me here on the show.
Awesome. Love it. And again, everybody, feel free to click below to continue to subscribe for any updates. And then, Liron, again, pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Matthew. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks for tuning in to the Crypto on the Block radio show with Matthew Loughran. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment. Tune in next time.